Hello everyone, this is Bhanu Prakash from amFOSS, Amrita University. Here I am to introduce you to the world of web development through HTML and CSS. Do not worry about anything, no prior knowledge is required to attend these classes. Feel free to ask questions and post them in the comments. So let's get started without further delay. What is HTML? HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML describes the structure of web pages using markup. HTML elements are the building blocks of HTML pages. HTML elements are represented by tags. And when you open a HTML file, the browser do not displays the HTML tags, but it uses them to render the content of the page. Before we start writing code, let me show you how to create a HTML file. In this video, I'll be using WebStorm as my text editor. This is how a WebStorm text editor looks like. Here I have created a file text.html, and let me show you how a HTML document looks like. Do not worry if you don't understand the code I'm writing. This is just an example of how a HTML code looks like. Here comes the title. I'll give my title as page title. After the title, the head is done. After the head, I'll give the body tag. Body will contain h1 and a paragraph. So this is how a HTML page looks like. So I have written the code of a basic HTML page. So let me show how it works. See, this is what I wrote as code. I've given h1 as my first heading, p as my paragraph. You learn everything I've written now in detail. This was just an example of how HTML code looks like. To start with, you have seen me writing code in angular brackets as HTML head, title, body, h1, and etc. So what are these? These are known as the tags. What is a tag? HTML tags are element names surrounded by angular brackets. HTML tags come normally in pairs. The first tag in the pair is the start tag, and the second tag is the end tag. The end tag is written like the start tag but with a forward slash inserted before the tag name. And you see the first line as doctype HTML. What is this doctype? It is the doctype declaration that represents the document type and helps browser to display web pages correctly. It must only appear once at the top of the page, and this is not case sensitive. So this is how you give a doctype HTML. Moving on to the next topic is HTML elements. An HTML element usually consists of a start tag and an end tag with the content inserted in between. The HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag. As you have seen here, for an example, the h1 to the closing tag of h1. This whole thing is an HTML element. One more thing in elements. There are nested HTML elements, as you can see over here. The HTML tag contains the head tag inside it, and the head tag contains a title tag inside it. So these are known as the nested HTML elements. And whichever tag you write, do not forget to write the closing tag, Otherwise, the HTML will show the error. Here the h1 tag represents a heading. HTML headings are defined from h1 to h6. As I told, there are headings from h1 to h6. Let me show you a few more. So as you see, I have given the h1, h2 and h3 tags, and these work as follows. You can still have h4, h5 and h6. Here the p tag represents a paragraph. A paragraph is always defined with the p tag. To define HTML images, we need the img tag, which comes as follows with a few attributes. I'll tell you what attributes are after a few topics. This is how you give an image tag. Coming across to HTML buttons, a HTML button is defined with the button tag. This is how you declare a button in HTML. Coming on to HTML attributes, we discussed what are elements and what are tags. So for every element, an attribute will provide an additional information about it. All HTML elements can have attributes. Attributes are always specified in the start tag. The first attribute I am going to teach you is the href attribute. HTML links are defined with the a tag. The link address is specified in the href attribute. Href stands for head reference. Here, the link I'll give will be available in the HTML page, and when you click on it, you will be redirected to that page. You can give a name to this link. Here I gave the name as this is a link. Let's see how it works. Sorry, I had to give www dot. See, this is how the href attribute works. You gave a link, a refer as a google.com reference to the link. So this is how the href works. And the next attribute we are going to learn about is the source attribute. HTML images, as I told before, are defined with the img tag. So with the file name of the source image is specified in the source attribute. Let me show you an example. Image source is equal to I'll give my example image as html.jpeg, which I have in my project folder, and close the tag. Let's see how this work out. See, I gave the picture name and I gave the source where it is, and I refreshed the page and it gave me the picture. Before moving on to the next attribute, I'll tell you about one more tag known as the line break tag. Here you see The picture and the link are side by side and it's not looking good. I want to give a line break after the link I gave. For that, I'll use the BR tag. Let's see how this works. See, I gave a line break after the link I gave and before the picture. The next attribute are the width and height attributes. Images in HTML have a set of size attributes which specifies the width and height of the image. So let me show you how you use those width and height attributes. Now you have defined the width of the picture as 500 and height of the picture as 600. So let's see how the picture changes. See, the picture got larger. The image size was specified in pixels as 500 pixels wide and the height as 600 pixels long. So this is how you give the width and height attributes to the image tag. When you want to use an alternative text to the picture when the picture cannot be displayed, you can use the alt attribute for that purpose. Let me show you an example. This is how you specify the alternative text for the image tag. And remember, this text is only displayed when the image cannot be displayed, so it is not visible now. But when, due to some errors, when the images are not displayed on your HTML pages, you use the alt to tell the users that there is a picture which shows us some respective things. Next comes the style attribute. It is used to specify the styling of an element like color, font, size, etc. You will be learning more about styling later in this tutorial and in the CSS tutorial, but let me just introduce you to how to use the style tag. Let's see how this works. See, you can see a paragraph in red. This is how the style tag works for a color. Moving on to the language attribute. The language of the document can be declared in the HTML tag itself. The language is declared with the lang attribute. Declaring a language is important for accessibility applications and search engines. To declare the language, you write the attribute in the HTML tag as told before. This is how you give the language attribute, and it does not make any change as we have already written the page in English itself. Next comes the title attribute. Here a title attribute is added to the paragraph element. For example, the value of the title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when you mouse over the paragraph. Paragraph title: I am a tooltip. Should come in the paragraph tag. This is a paragraph Let me save it, and now, and when I hover on it, I can see I am a tooltip. This is where you use the title attribute. That's it for this video, and let me tell you the summary we learned. All HTML elements can have attributes. The title attribute provides additional tooltip information. The href attribute provides address information for links. The width and height attributes provide size information for images. The alt attribute provides text for screen readers. We always use lowercase attribute names, and we always quote attribute values with double quotes. Thank you for listening to this video. We will meet with my next video with the next topics in HTML. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe.